Yeah.
So was college before or after you had a boyfriend give you chlamydia? Or not chlamydia, it was gonorrhea.
Your wardrobe screams fatherless. You have more trust in that top side than people.
How was your relationship with your father? Just saying, why did you get the attention you wanted?
You need Jesus. That's offensive. Welcome back to That's
Same.
Offensive. If you haven't been able to tell, I'm not just doubled. I have a guest here. We have the same hair. She actually was the one who got me to start my curly hair journey again. Her name is Sarah.
Hello.
Hello. You're cute.
I love that introduction because I've been told multiple times, like, is that your twin? Is that your twin?
Oh my God, should we do OnlyFans content where I'm like, oh wait, no, that'll be incest. If I'm like my sister, my twin,
yeah, no,
would it be incest?
If we go like full on,
well,
no, I'm not saying like full on, like
we've already fucked.
Yeah, like the deed's been done. But I'm saying if we're like full on, like. Blood,
oh my
sister?
God.
Yes.
Like my sister from the same mister.
Oh my God.
Like, wow, is it like I'm just like imagining the scenario like, oh my God, my twin sister is just so hot. She looks just like me and I already masturbate to myself. Should I masturbate
dead.
with her? Oh, now I get to eat her out and now I get to finger her.
This would work though.
Is that against like OnlyFans TOS though? Or like can we fake like we're twins for views, you know? Like can we just fake it enough to where they don't care?
We're
Like
twins. We're
like we have
step
very
sisters, but we're twins.
we have very
Like,
different
we're,
last names.
Step.
Step wink. But can you even say stepsister on OnlyFans anymore? They've been getting stricter.
I don't know.
I don't
Honestly,
know either.
I'm like, I don't know. Because you do something. You could do one thing
Yeah,
on a platform.
you're not
and
allowed
they're like, oh wait, I was so behind. I didn't know that like I wasn't supposed to do this.
Yeah, you're not even allowed to squirt anymore on the platform because so many people were paying to fake squirting. Yeah, you're not supposed to squirt on the platform anymore. But did you listen to like the Chloe Cherry episode of Call Her Daddy?
I did not.
Okay, well, Chloe is like a mainstream porn star, and
Sorry, Call Her Daddy.
she was saying that like all porn stars fake squirt with pee, and I'm like, hold up, girly, hold up. I've been squirting since before I did porn, so don't generalize here.
Well, that.
Yeah,
That's
it's not all
itself
fake.
Because.
Well, no, I was always embarrassed because guys don't like it. Like they say they do in porn. Guys really don't like it when you do it in person. Almost every guy I've hooked up with is grossed out by my squirt. Isn't that interesting?
Like some bitch boy behavior.
I've also never been
It sounds like some
eaten
bitch boy
out.
behavior.
Like some bitch boy.
So wait, if you're watching and you think
thought
that, so me personally, I'm like, you're a little bitch.
If you're watching and you thought my squirt was gross, shame on you. Fuck you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that is on a map.
I've already done a F-bomb, potty math. I'm just.
Oh, what?
No, I'm just getting at like, so Oklahoma, my background, it's like, it's super conservative. It's like literally like you turn a corner, boom, there's a church.
Wow. Well, that's always like fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Like churches are just like, they're just great places to sin.
I'm like laughing. I'm like, literally, I lived there for about 25 years, and the past year of my life has like completely transformed just like my way of thinking. And
when you grew up in Oklahoma, did you like party at all? Like do people who are very religious come from like religious backgrounds? I mean, I was religious, but also I grew up in a party town. Like, did people party there?
Yeah, I mean, there's partying, but like, I'm definitely like college partying. Like I went to OU, was very like fraternity, like Greek life driven.
So before you went to college, you joined the military. Is that like a family tradition, or like what made you choose the military out of all things?
I know. I get this all the time where people like they like see me and like they'll never guess like, oh, you were in the military, because I'm like, you know, blonde hair. I'm like.
You don't look aggressive. You don't look like a man with toxic masculinity who joins the military to literally like just fuck with people.
So like really like I don't come from much of like a military background. Like my grandfather, he was in the Air Force, but then like other than that, like I really don't. I went to high school, and right out of high school, it was like boom, college. Like that was kind of like the mentality growing up is like, you know, you get out of high school, you go to school, or like you go to college and then like start a career. And for me, like I joined college and I was like, I need to pay for this. Like I need to find a way to make my way through this. And one of my friends joined and he was like, well, you could join and like serve for 6 years and like, you know, pay for basically half your college. And at the time I was like really physically fit. Like I was like doing the whole CrossFit thing. And I love the outdoors. And so the recruiter just really sold me on that one. They're like, oh, the perfect person for this.
But you didn't like fight, right? Like what was your role in the military?
So I was a combat medic. So I never deployed. I did my training and I served for 6 years. And but yeah, I volunteered for a deployment and I never went overseas though. But
wow. Look at that. Yeah. So was college before or after you had a boyfriend give you chlamydia? Or not chlamydia, it was gonorrhea.
Gonorrhea.
So
gosh. I'm like, yeah.
You're like, wow, wasn't expecting that question to follow up.
Like, we talked about this before.
I know. It's funny that I already know the answers to the questions, but you guys don't.
So you guys don't. So just like
I'm gonna pretend
there,
like
get your popcorn and enjoy the show.
I'm just gonna pretend like I know nothing. Like, so you had an STD?
But wait, you had one too?
You had one too? Guess what? I had chlamydia.
Guess what?
We're STD sisters.
Chlamydia's like best friend, gonorrhea.
So how did you get it?
Yeah. So at the time, guys, yeah. Okay. So at the time, I think I was like 21. I was like with my first ever serious boyfriend.
Was this in college or?
I was in college.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I was at OU. I think I was a sophomore at the time, and I actually like, I think that it was during it was like during like one of the breaks.
Yeah.
And me and my girlfriends, we actually came out here to LA. Okay. It was my first time in LA. And I was gone for like 5 days. Come back and it's like a week later. And he like brings it to my attention. He's like, I want you like I want to let you know that I'm experiencing these symptoms. And I had chlamydia before. And like these symptoms are like really similar. So like I just want to let you know like this is like what's going on. And he was like I know who I've slept with.
And you guys were dating, like exclusively dating.
No, we were like exclusive. No, and at the time too, I'm like okay, like you're only my second boyfriend. Very much at the time, like I'm not like even before him, like not sexually active. I think like at the time, like whenever I was dating him, I maybe had sex with like total like 5 people or like around there.
Wow,
conservative. I'm like tie in this Bible belts and this like purity culture, you know, like at the time, I was like, I mean, I can count on my fingers and the people I've slept with. And like he was like, you know, I know who I've slept with. And I'm like,
excuse me.
I'm like, wait 1 second, you know, but at the time, like I was like, okay, like I've never experienced this before. I've never had like somebody like kind of come at me that way and like, you know, try to like shame me.
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
Now we know in today's culture.
Now we know. Yeah, now we know. But I never had somebody like come at me like that. And so I was just like, okay, but like, I know me, like, I've been loyal and nothing's happened. And
did you have any symptoms?
No, I did.
Okay.
So like it was like maybe a few days after that conversation and like things started happening. And so I was like, okay, like I'm
Time to go
gonna
get tested.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get tested. And like I was freaking out, absolutely freaking out because I was like, I've never had to go to the doctor like for this, like I've like had like my checkups, but like
Yeah.
I've never had to like go to the doctor and be like, so this is what I'm experiencing, and like this could be like an STD. And yeah, like sure enough, they were like, you've gonorrhea. And like in that moment, it's so funny. It's so funny, like looking back on it, like I literally like I thought that I was like gonna start crying.
Yeah.
I felt like so nasty. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is happening to me, like as if like it is like this huge deal.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's funny because when I had chlamydia, I also thought it was like the biggest deal in the world. I'm like, I'm so dirty.
like
But
I'm
honestly,
so dirty,
I was
and,
having
like nobody's ever gonna love me.
the difference between
like no, there's other reasons for that.
the difference between me and you though is I actually was being a huge whore.
Okay, well, I'm all for that too.
How do you think like the education system has like failed us in like educating us about like STDs? Because like I mean for chlamydia, you already told me about gonorrhea, but you can tell them. But for chlamydia, I took a pill and 2 weeks later, bim bam boom, my vagina, I was good to go.
You're like, okay, we got this cleaned out. Yeah. Like the medicine like did its thing.
So what was gonorrhea like?
Really the only difference is like I went in, did some blood work, got the results back. That day though that I got blood work, they gave me like a shot on my booty. So
your little booty.
Yeah, my booty. I got a shot. And so I got a shot and then got the results back. I came back in and it was positive, and that's when I was like, oh my God. And then gave me an antibiotic for it, and then it was like boom, like we're good. But at that time I was like, I just think it's so funny looking back at it because I was so ashamed. I really was so ashamed, and I felt like I'm so nasty. Like I really didn't like want to bring it up to anybody.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like that's like we've been like so conditioned to feel like if this happens that like it's not okay.
Yeah.
And like, like through learning about it in school, which I feel like is like honestly pretty brief.
And in school, I felt like at least like the way they taught us, it was like you're gonna get AIDS and die.
No, yeah,
like HIV turns to AIDS, and this is how many deaths there are per year. And I didn't learn about chlamydia. I didn't learn about gonorrhea. We only learned about the ones that like you could potentially die. I even remember herpes. They were like, it is forever. And you know how many people have herpes? At least like type 1, it's like 89 or 90% of people have at least type 1, but then there's not the stigma because it's like, oh, I just have like a little cold sore in my mouth. But then when it's on your vagina, people are like, that is disgusting. But on your lips for some reason
it's such a stigma. It's like I don't think that I learned about it like thoroughly until I was in college.
I didn't learn about it thoroughly, I feel like, till I got chlamydia, because then I was forced to learn that I'm not dirty and I'm not gross.
Yeah. Like they're just not like nobody's like really like want to talk about it. And I don't know if like that like it's just like you said, like it's a stigma.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, like this is so bad.
I mean, I just feel like at least chlamydia for me felt just like some of the bacterial infections I've had. But I just know if it goes untreated for a while, it can cause a lot of other issues. But but that's why we gotta like normalize getting tested regularly too.
Normalize getting tested. And honestly, it's like, yes.
The porn stars really do have it right, because like the actual porn stars, because they get tested before every single scene that they do.
Yes.
Like if I am not tested, it's like you're
not going to.
Well, they'll make scenes with me because like, I mean, I haven't been hooking up with anyone, and I'm like, do I really want to get tested? Because I haven't even hooking
like,
up.
Okay, well, like I already know my results.
But we've been doing just like vibrator scenes, and I'm like, that's fine because we're still like we're still hooking up, but also we're not like endangering each other. Not that I was anyways, but you know. they really do it
not,
right.
Like endangering each other besides us like thrusting
or like fucking each other with a dildo.
Oh my gosh, I have a really funny story about that.
Oh, okay, tell it.
Okay. So me and my best friend Kristen, we filmed a scene with each other, and it was our first time ever like fucking each other like with a strap on. And it's hilarious because so she brought her dildo and I brought my dildo, and like her dildo was like the material of it was actually kind of like spongy, like
Okay.
almost like, like it would be like it's not like the harder dildos.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the more like realistic skin of like a dildo.
I have
You know
one
what
of
I'm talking about?
those.
Like,
Yeah.
it could like, like
You mean
match.
silicone, or is it softer than silicone?
It's softer.
Oh.
Pretty sure. It's like it's a little bit more spongy and it's like more like realistic.
Okay, got it.
That's what you want. That's what you want if you're going to be like a strap on, like fucking
Okay.
someone. Because the other dildo that I brought, I mean, it was bigger, but it was very hard.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm sorry, Kristen. Like,
You know what's so
I'm
funny?
so sorry for doing that to you because I was like, we're like going, and I was like, wait, like, is this feeling good? Like, And then I'm like, okay, wait, no, she's in pain because she was like, no, we have to stop. We have to get the other one.
Cut.
No, like in scene. We have that on tape somewhere.
It's so
that's fun.
funny because like the first time I met you guys, I had only done like kind of like vibrator content with girls. Like no one really went like hardcore with me. And then you guys, I like went to your hotel room, and this was right after me, and like it was like a few days after I had ended things with my old podcast partner, and I was going through depression. And then I come into this room, and there was dildos, handcuffs, double-sided dildos, vibrators. Like it was, I think there had to be over like 30 toys. Am I exaggerating, or there were like 30 toys?
No, like
They brought a lot.
I mean, we brought an inventory
They-
of the toys. So
They brought an inventory. And then I just remember Kristen ate me out, and I was like, I was die hard. I was like, I do not like being eaten out. Die
I know.
hard.
No, I remember.
And then she
No,
ate
it's
me
so
out,
funny, like
and I didn't want her to stop.
shout out Kristen.
Shout out
She knows what
Kristen.
doing.
She has her tools. Oh yeah. So going back to the STDs, we really got off topic here.
Yeah, no, we did. We're branching.
We're branching, but
honestly,
we have
those
interest.
are my favorite types of conversations.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, like 1 second we're like here.
Yeah.
And then like it like branches out. It's like boom, boom, boom.
Boom,
And then
boom,
like I'm
boom.
like, wait, where were we?
Where were we?
Those
Honestly,
those are my favorite.
It keeps for a very interesting podcast when we jump around because then it's like, oh, like we didn't mean to tell that story, but now we have.
No, I'm like I dove into that one. That's a good story.
I also wanted to point out the fact that we learned in school about like HIV, AIDS, like herpes. We learned about all these things, but not once did we learn in school about like consent, ongoing consent, about like even like using a condom with someone. In like, I remember in college, it kind of went both ways. Like when I first got to college, I think I was using condoms with like everybody. And then like a few guys were like, oh, like, I just don't even want to have sex if we have to use a condom. And then we stopped using condoms. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better. And then I stopped using them. But there's like that kind of manipulation tactic. Of,
No,
like,
there
it just
is.
feels so much worse.
No.
But it's like, that's how you fucking get chlamydia.
There is. And it's like,
The schools never teach you that, like, guys can use these manipulation tactics. And I think it's called like coercion. I mean, I don't know. Some people claim it's SI, some people don't. I don't know. I don't want to get into that conversation because that goes really fucking far. But like,
I mean, with this one, some guys might get their feelings hurt.
yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. But like from what I've heard, it's like the condom. I've heard like it doesn't make that much of a difference for them.
Oh, it makes it honestly.
No, it makes a difference for me.
It makes a difference for me. Like I feel it because
Yes.
I have to use like
Yeah.
latex-free condoms personally because I'm allergic to latex, and there's a specific one, and I've had allergic reactions to even latex-free ones. So there's only one brand that like I don't feel allergic reactions to. It doesn't feel as good for me. It doesn't feel as good for the guy, which is why I'm all about like us getting.
Is it because it's like a different.
It's so like it's thick. It's a different
Okay,
consistency. It's not
okay.
like that super thin condom feeling. It just feels awful.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's weird because it dries you out really quickly. So you have to like
Yes, you
constantly
have to, like,
lube
continue
up.
like using lube.
So like in college, I ended up becoming that girl because I hated using those condoms. I'm like, let's not use a condom. But guys are a little different than girls where they take no convincing.
Well, I think it's like the fact of like for us, or like, I don't know. I don't have a dick.
Yeah.
But like
I'm
you
just
would
thinking
never,
with my dick.
like I'm just saying like if somebody is like let's use a condom, like
Yeah.
that just kind of sucks if like a guy is like like pressuring you out of it in a
Yeah.
sense, you know? So it's like if you're like, well, no, like I'm pretty stuck on this, like I want to use one to like protect myself, and if a guy is like, but like it's not gonna feel as good for me, or like yada
Yeah.
yada, it's like you're like pressuring them in a sense.
It is pressuring.
because
and,
that makes the person feel like, okay, well, like now if we have sex and like
and I get
I'm
an
not gonna-
STD, like it's
yeah,
my fault.
or like, but in a sense of like for the girl, if I'm not able to pleasure them, you know,
Yeah. And it's like the same
so-
argument where guys are like, do you really want to give me blue balls? Which, by the way, blue balls is a myth.
Okay,
But it's
that's
the
a
same
myth.
argument.
That's a myth. Yeah, but like kind of same.
It's like the same kind of coercion, like, oh, it just hurts so bad.
Yeah.
This is how I'm like, it just hurts so bad. Like, I need a knot.
I'm in so much pain.
It hurts so bad.
I mean, like, not gonna lie though, like looking back on like my sex life and like
Yeah.
my early 20s, like I think of these things that like came up, and I really did like coming from a space that like I feel like as a female it sucks, because I think that like through sex education like we're like not taught to like fully
No.
embody like our power.
Not at all.
And like we're so powerful, and like to fully embody that, like, you know, this, we're like not educated with sex.
I
and
don't
like
think so
how
either.
and how to like how to show up in this light to where it's like I want to do this. Like I want to like do this and like go through this experience to like, because I want to feel good.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that like I know I slipped up in like my my
Yeah.
early 20s, and like, you know, I'm still healing from this, where it's
Yeah.
like I wanted to show up in a way to where it's like this is gonna like make them feel good, and
Mhm.
like this is going to this sounds so bad, but like this is like gonna make them like want me,
Yeah.
you know? And like now it's like through like what I'm doing now and like the
Mhm.
relationships I'm forming, like the friendships I'm forming, like I'm like able to like tap into like my sexual energy and like
Mhm.
try to like use this as like something empowering, but like, you know, like
Yeah.
make decisions, like form boundaries,
Uh-huh.
like make decisions like, do I want to do this for me? Like,
Yeah.
is this going to make me feel good?
Mhm.
Because that's something like we're not educated about. Like
No.
we're just not. Like,
First of all, I didn't even know what the clitoris was till
Yeah,
like college. I didn't know like there's a labia, there's a clitoris, there's a vagina, there's a G-spot. I just
Yeah.
thought, and I mean, don't get me wrong, sex is like always, you know, felt good for me in some capacity, but it's like I just remember always leaving so horny because I'm like, I am not
you're
coming.
like, wait, like you had your post-nut clarity, and now
Yeah.
I don't, because like, things aren't clear up here now because like
Yeah.
I didn't get off.
When did you start masturbating? Because you grew up in like a
Um,
very religious town. You grew up in a very like, you know, or what was the word that you kept using?
So like it's like the Bible Belt. Like,
Yeah,
that's like what it's
Bible
like termed
Belt.
as.
Uh-huh. I feel like 20 is a pretty normal age to buy your vibrator. Like what made you like want to buy it? Like what was your
I mean, I had like always like heard of like people like masturbating, and like
Mhm.
I really like never did. Like I just didn't. And
Yeah.
I like went to OU, and I got in this class. It was my human sexuality class, and we like had this field trip. It's so funny. I just think it's so funny that I'm like I went to a field trip in college to a sex store.
Oh my God,
But,
that's
yeah,
sick.
Yeah. And so like they were just talking about how like, I mean, the workers, like they like answered questions for us,
Uh-huh.
and they were like, you know, like we're here as like a means to like, you know, help people
Yeah.
figure things out, and it's like ask us anything. Like
Uh-huh.
we're here to like educate like through this. And I think like a lot of us honestly, like we were in there and we were kind of like, oh, like we've never been here before. And they
Yeah.
even said, they were just like, you know, like we want you guys to feel comfortable, and like literally any question, like come in after this, like you can always like explore, like look around. And
Yeah.
so like that kind of like sparked something in me. And after that class, I was like, okay, like I kind of want to go into
Get
the
a
shop.
vibrator.
I was like, I kind of want to like go in the shop and like, you know, like find something for me and like see what works. I'm
Yeah.
like, at that point, like I was like, I don't know if like I lean more towards like clitoral stimulation, or like if I need to find like a vibrator that's like
Yeah.
like internal. Like I didn't know what I liked, and I was just like, okay, well, this is kind of cool that like, although I don't know right now, like I can figure it out and like kind of explore that. And I feel like that was I guess like my first little teensy
like
bit
sexual empowerment experience.
Like,
yeah.
like, and that was, I guess, in my early 20s. And that was like my first little like, okay, like I guess I'm like dipping a toe in.
Yeah. So what was like the cannonball, like I'm doing OnlyFans? Because you grew up very Christian and like a Christian community. I also did. However, I think I knew I was like a whore. I'm saying whore not in a derogatory sense, but like I knew I was a whore from a young age, and that I felt like this was always the path I was going down. So it was like this jumping cannonball.
You're like, I didn't dip a toe. I just like launched myself. So I guess like my first initial like thing that I guess like my stepping stones to OnlyFans was like photo shoots. So I very much started doing like the boudoir, glamour.
What
type
is
photo
boudoir?
shoots.
Because I've never heard of that.
So it's like lingerie. It's literally just like glamour, like lingerie type photo shoots.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I started doing that. I think back in 2020. It's like I was working a job at the health department during COVID. So like part time, I'm like doing like COVID tests, and then like on my night shift, I'm just kidding, but like in like my free time, I started doing like photo shoots. And for me, like through that, I felt like, you know, being in lingerie, like feeling sexy, like it was something that like really just made me feel good and like empowered me. And so I just continued doing photo shoots, and then I started like building relationships with certain girls that had OnlyFans. And I waited probably about a year to
make one,
create an OnlyFans.
It's like a big decision, because like growing up religious, did you have like a lot of like internal slut shaming? Like you kind of slut shaming yourself because you're like, I'm supposed to be on this Christian path, but I want to be a slut, you know?
Yeah. I want to say like, so as far as like my religious background goes, I wouldn't say that like it was too overpowering, where it was like, you know, like my like parents are like pushing it down my throat, which I really appreciate. Like, you know, I grew up in the church, but stopped going at like a pretty early age, and it's not like it was ever forced upon me. But I would say it's like, I know growing up that it was always like, save yourself for marriage. And like I didn't. And then like I guess I was never shamed for it, but it was just like,
was there like an internal dialogue, like how is this gonna like affect my parents?
I would say like it was more like internal. And I know especially starting an OnlyFans and like showing this much skin online, like my parents, I had to like try to hide it for a while. And like whenever my family like started, you know, seeing stuff pop up.
Oh, they saw stuff.
Yeah.
How?
I mean, my mom, she followed me on Instagram.
Oh, well, girl.
No, but yeah, like she followed me on Instagram. Like, so like me and my family were very close. And so it was kind of like the decision between like, do I like block them, or do like I just like let them see? And hey, let me like, first off, I did end up blocking her. I want you to know that the things that she saw was I wore a crop top sweater.
Oh, okay.
With panties. This was like the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I just want you to know, like, she got mad about that. So it's like I blocked her like later on.
She got mad about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like this was like right after I graduated college. And I posted this picture like a week after I graduated, and it's me and this like crop top sweater and a thong, and you couldn't even see my booty. Like you could just like see me from the front. And like, no shit, I got a text from my mom, got a text from my dad, them saying like, we're just so disappointed. And I was like, I instantly started crying, because I was like, I just graduated college. Like I have my degree. I'm like, last week you were just telling me like I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And then like this week, I post this one picture and it's like something for me that like I wanted to like dive more into, like start like shooting. Like honestly, I wanted to like shoot more.
Yeah.
But hearing like this makes us like really disappointed. Like that for me, I was just like, oh, I did. Like I really did. I took that to heart. And now as time has gone on, like things are so much better.
Yeah.
Things are so much better. And like, like they obviously still love me and they're there for me. But like that, I guess that was like my first initial sign that like, okay, like this isn't something where it's like, this isn't something where they're going to be like, wow,
you're doing so great.
You're doing this.
This is
like,
so godly and wholesome.
Yeah. So that was like my initial, and I guess after that, I think that's why I wanted to like start hiding things. Like I was like, I see that, and I'm like, I'm basically like fully clothed. And then I started, like showing more and more, and I was like, I can't let them know.
I can't.
Yeah, and then like as far as starting my OnlyFans, I was just like, there's no way. Like there's no fucking way.
Did you start like basically doing porn immediately, or did you like kind of build your way up? Because I think you and Kristen were my segue. Like I considered it porn when I was masturbating and what I did with Mikey, but I literally fucked you guys, and that was that was like my first like I am fingering Sarah while she's eating Kristen out. And that was like my first, like, this is like hardcore porn, okay?
Yeah. So I guess like I really just went for it.
You were like, let me just jump in.
Yeah, like I was doing like my photos for a while, then I got my OnlyFans, and honestly, like I didn't like. I guess I just went for it. Like I like usually like people they like slowly like integrate all those things. It's kind of like, hey, like you do this or like like, definitely like the solo play first. I definitely dabbled in some solo play. But like I guess like my first.
But you were already friends with like Kristen, right?
Yeah.
So it was like really easy to just jump in with her.
Yeah. Well, honestly, our first scene. I guess we only did like a makeout scene. That was like my first like girl.
Yeah.
But that was like very early in our friendship.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
but like it was like my first like girl scene, but it wasn't anything like too crazy.
Yeah.
But then I guess like a few months later, like that's whenever I like end up doing like boy girl.
Okay.
So
because
it's all within like probably a 4 to 5 month
span of like doing everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like that segues into you being a unicorn. So no, she does not have a horn on her head. She does not have a horsetail. Like, explain what a unicorn is for the people who
don't. I mean, like, I'm like bright and colorful, my aura. But so a unicorn is someone like myself who it's a single female that is invited into like a sexual container with a couple.
Yeah. Fun.
So like that's like why it's termed a unicorn, because if it is like a healthy, I guess like if it's like a successful unicorn experience, then like that's why it's called a unicorn, because it's like a rarity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
to like find like a single female that like wants to
fuck,
like have fun with like a couple, and like like that. In some circumstances there could be that girl, and then like, they could like overstep different boundaries and
oh, interesting.
You don't want that.
Yeah, no, not at all. So what was your first experience unicorning?
So my first experience actually was for OF content.
Okay, so it wasn't even just outside of it. Oh, I thought it was outside of it. Okay, we're all learning something here today.
Well, I guess as far as like a full experience, like I was like invited to like make content for like I guess like my first experience, but I guess like my full experience. Okay, yeah, that was off camera.
So what was this first experience like?
So I came for the first time during oral. My two best friends.
It's so funny to say.
Oral. I came and then boom. So I was with like my two really good friends, Kristen and Chance, and Chance was actually giving us like a pussy eating class.
Apparently he eats pussy better than all of us.
So we were like learning the class, doing the pussy eating class, and then like he was like doing the pussy eating on me, and I was making out with Kristen, and like I ended up coming, and I literally like after I was like, oh my gosh, yes, because that was the first time I had ever came to like somebody like eating me out.
Have you ever come with a guy before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I have, but it's like I never had like during that. And so for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, this is amazing. It like unlocked something for me because I was like, this is the key. Like, like I was like making out with Kristen. I'm like, this is like the key for me. Like I like girls and
oh my God. That song, I like girls, oh my God, big titties, big booty, big titties, or something like that. Were you like scared during like that scene? Like, oh my God, what if I'm like overstepping my boundaries? Like, what if she changes her mind?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we both know Kristen, but for people who don't know Kristen, like, you know, what might be going through their mind is like, what if she changes her mind and then hates you mid?
No, like definitely my brain went there. And like we joke around about it all the time because like after an experience, I'll be like, Kristen, like, is everything okay?
Are we good? Are you mad at me?
Yeah. No, but like for this container, like it really does, especially like for me being such a close friend.
Yeah.
And like for me being invited into an experience like this, like it has to be so safe.
Yeah.
And like it's talked about beforehand, you know, like it's talked about like, are you comfortable with this? Like, how do you feel about this?
Yeah.
You know, like we talk about it, get like full consent. And then after the experience, you know, kind of have like a little checkup again.
Okay.
And like, how was the experience for you? Like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And then like them as a couple, like, you know, they'll have like their aftercare.
Wow.
But,
so do you like the experience of being a unicorn then? Like, is it something that you like? I mean, you came for the first time, so there's got to be something.
Yeah, no,
fun
like
about it.
I definitely I enjoy it. Like, yeah, like I came for the first time. Like that unlocked something for me where I was like, I would like to explore this more. I feel like I'm like a unicorn in training. I'm like a baby unicorn. Because I'm still figuring it out, and I'm still figuring out like what I enjoy. And for me, so for the experiences, I definitely like I feel so safe and like I feel comfortable. It's almost like what you said, where I get like a little in my head because I think it's so ingrained that like, oh my gosh, like
I'm supposed to be pure. I'm supposed to not enjoy sex before marriage.
But it's kind of like, you know, just being a good friend. It's like,
that too.
You know, you're like, you know, like whenever you're like a girl's girl and you're like, oh wait, I would never like have sex with like my
best friend's boyfriend.
This is my best friend's man.
Yeah.
And like all my experiences, like I've been just like invited like with my friends, and so it's like I feel safe, but it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, wait, like, is this okay?
Yeah, it's really funny because I guess I don't even think this is considered a unicorning experience, but maybe because when us three gave head a chance, I kept looking at Kristen.
You're like,
to make sure
like, wait,
that I was like, okay, she's looking at me. I'm going to go back down.
You're like, wait, like, is she?
Because I mean, that was like my first and only experience like that. And I was like, I was really scared because
Wait, I
like,
didn't know that was your first.
yeah, that was my first ever. We got to share that experience
We
together.
got to share that with each other.
You got to be like the first girls to eat me out. We got to have my first. Is that considered
It's just
unicorning though?
It's
Was I a unicorn in that situation? Because we didn't fuck. I literally just blew
I guess we just did like a little double unicorn action.
Yeah, because we didn't have the aftercare.
Yeah. Well,
What we-
usually, so like,
Explain what
so
the
like,
aftercare
okay,
is.
So aftercare for the couple is like they.
Oh, it's just for the couple,
Just for
not
the
for the
couple.
unicorn. Okay.
Yeah, it's just for the couple. Yeah. So it's like, you know, like I'm being like included in this experience, but then it's like afterwards, like it's still something that like they would need to like come together and
Yeah.
like, you know, like it could be anything. It could be just like cuddling
Uh-huh.
or like watching a movie or like
Yeah.
anything that's like going to make them feel like there's like they're like loving on each other. and,
Yeah.
like they're there. And,
Like just so
Or-
it can bring
yeah.
them closer together,
Yeah,
and then like
yeah.
okay, that makes a lot of sense. So how is it hanging out with, because like you have said every person you've unicorn for has been your friend. So how is the experience hanging out with them after? Because I think a lot of unicorns aren't they aren't like best friends with people they unicorn for.
I know. So my experience, it's been great. I mean,
Yeah.
like afterwards, you know, we talk about it.
Uh-huh.
For me, I probably am like a little bit annoying because like sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, like, is everything good?
Like, are you sure?
Yeah,
I
like,
didn't
are you
overstep my
sure?
boundaries.
Like you, are we like still best friends? So yeah, like that will happen, and then like afterwards, like everything is normal. Like
Yeah.
everything's normal. Like the guys very like respectful as they are always.
Yeah. And like the guys,
like
they never like flirt with you. It just
No.
goes back to just being like friends.
yeah, yeah.
That's like the funniest thing, because like, I mean, at least for me, blowing guys is a little bit different, but after I fuck a guy, I'll always make it awkward. Like, I don't think there's a single situation where I can't make it awkward.
Yeah, well, like I'm pretty sure like I'm like awkward. I mean,
In general.
I know I'm awkward by nature, so I'm pretty sure there's times where it's like I'm just like, okay, like I'm kind of awkward sometimes, but like I think that, I think like I'm just already like that period.
Yeah.
That it's not like it stands out much
Uh-huh.
more than normal. And then also like I'm so like appreciative like of the friendships that I have, and
Yeah.
like just like honestly like the men,
Uh-huh.
like all my friends, like they have such solid like boyfriend, fiance, like they like have like a solid partner,
Mhm.
and they really do like they show up,
Yeah.
and like that like healthy masculinity, and like that's why like for me like my experience has been like so amazing, because like afterwards it's like nothing's changed. It's
Mhm.
like, you know, they still
Do you,
they love me just the same, like,
yeah.
and respect me, and like that's why they like them and all my girlfriends.
Yeah.
It's really not all of them, guys. So like, don't think I'm just like fucking all of my girlfriends, man. It's not all of them. But they all make the experience just very safe,
Yeah.
very comfortable.
Do you think it actually like brings you guys closer together because they're able to offer like that really safe sexual space?
I think that I don't want to say like, oh, like I fucked them, so like now we're like more best friends, and we've joked around about that.
Yeah.
But I think for me, and I mean for all of us, it's like there's like that level of trust.
Mhm.
And I know for myself, like being invited to like share that space with them and experience that, I'm like, okay, like we all feel super safe, and like they
Yeah.
like they trust me enough to like share that with me.
Yeah.
So for me, like I mean, it means a lot.
Uh-huh.
And
So when you show up to like the threesomes, like what is your role? Like, do you pay more attention to the guy, to the girl? Like, what is it that you're doing specifically?
I mean, definitely to the girl.
Yeah. That's what I'd say is like the right answer, because you never want the girl to feel
No, but, like,
like
Yeah, well, just me, I'm like, okay, this is like my best friend. And also I'm
you're like, I want my best friend to come. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? The guy gets to come every time. Sometimes he comes in asleep.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
we need to get the
yes.
girls off.
Honestly, like I feel like for me too, like I love like I love like giving.
Uh-huh.
I love like if I know that like anyone, I mean my girls especially, because like you said, like guys like they can come anytime.
Yeah.
But like if I know like I'm like pleasing
Mm-hmm.
somebody, like pleasuring them, like I'm like okay, like I feel so good.
Yeah.
Like if I can like get a girl up, I'm like yes, because like I'm like
Yes.
I already know like our orgasm is like explosive as fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like okay, like anytime I can, I'm like oh I feel so good. And like, and then also too, it's like in that sort of dynamic. I
Mhm.
mean, it's not like I'm like ignoring the guy by any means, but like I just want to make sure like most of my attention is like on the girl.
Yeah.
And just like
Because I don't think the guy, I mean, not that like your friends would, and we know Kristen, she definitely wouldn't, but like I think in any situation, the guy isn't gonna leave the threesome being like, oh, I'm so mad I didn't get more attention. He'll be stoked. But it's like, you know, the girl is probably usually the one being like, why were they in cahoots
you
so
know, like,
much?
yeah, like it would just be weird. It would just be weird. Yeah. So I mean, like definitely. I mean, I try to be there for like
Yeah.
both. You know.
Do you think
like,
you get off as much as the couples do?
I definitely like I enjoy it. I think that the whole entire experience is really hot.
Yeah.
I love that it's like even like I don't know, just the idea of like okay, like they get fucked, but then that's like I can like make out with them, like
and I get to be like invited into
yeah,
like,
and, like invited
their
that
space.
like that is like really hot. Like I'm like I enjoy that. Like even like the thought of it, I'm like okay, like that's hot.
That's fucking hot. So you've mentioned that like you feel like you get in your head a lot. Is that in every sexual experience or is it mainly in threesomes?
It's definitely like in most.
Yeah.
It's like probably all.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why I was like I don't want to like single out like my threesome experiences because I think it's like in a lot of them. I definitely like I just have to like feel safe and like feel a connection.
Yeah.
With someone,
yeah,
to like thoroughly enjoy it, you know, like if not, I think it's because like how I brought up earlier, I think as females, like we're just not taught to fully embody
our sexuality,
like our sexuality and like our sexual energy and doing the things that actually make us feel good, and so like that's what I'm learning now is you know trying to like get more in my body and like have an experience that like I can fully be present and enjoy it and like not have an experience where it's like it's transactional where it's like I'm doing this because I'm trying to like gain something outside of that sexual container.
I'm just like thinking of all the times I've had sex with men being like this is it, they're gonna fall in love with me,
they're gonna like they under my spell. Yeah,
they're that. I used to love taking virginities in high school because I'm like I have like so much, but it didn't really work out that way, but that was in my head. I'm like I'm gonna have so much power over them for the rest of their lives.
Funny. I don't think I've ever taken somebody's virginity.
I took like 6.
Oh my god.
Well,
you're like they're still under my spell.
They'll always remember who I am.
Yeah.
Always. So how have you like not gotten in your head? Because I mean, it's probably easier having that like deep friendship with them and being able to talk about things after. And it's like, I mean, Chance was able to make you come, whereas people before weren't. So obviously like something is going right.
Yeah.
So are they able to like, because they already know that you're going through this. So it's like, do they talk you through like, you're getting in your head, Sarah? Like,
no. I think that, yeah, they definitely know, like they know that it's easy for that to happen for me and that like this is like something I'm working on.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're like in the middle of things and they're like snap out of it, bitch. No, but like for like my last experience, like I told them, you know, like I told them I was like, I'm excited to like do this because I feel like now like I can be like more present and enjoy it and like we like talked about it and like I told them I was like yeah like not gonna lie like the first time I was not so much there but like for this one like I felt so good and like yeah like we talk about it and they're super supportive.
Aww,
and
we love them.
And like I mean Kristen like she
is a saint.
She's a saint but like that's like her bread and butter like
sex.
Like, I mean she's like becoming like a coach and like helping people like tap into like their like sexual goddess energy, and like
Mhm.
that's something like we have these talks, and she is able to like hold space for me and like hear me and like help me like dive more into that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Aw.
yeah,
Um.
they've all just been super helpful. And OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah. So what are like the mixed feelings that you have when you do have these like unicorn experiences?
Mixed feelings. I would say just like the fear, like almost like the ingrained
Kind of societal expectation.
Yes. It's like the societal expectation that like this is wrong. You're not supposed to be doing it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be fucking your best friend's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like Cassie.
Classy
Cassie.
bitch. Like, I think that it's kind of like breaking out of that and just rewriting like years of what you've been taught.
Because everything, and like this is, I think, schools just don't teach you this. Most places don't teach you this, but like consent is everything. So something that's like normally
huge.
seen as wrong, but you have consent for, doesn't have to be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like the cool thing about today's culture is people are trying to teach like consent is cool.
Which I'm so happy about. I'm like, okay, like let's keep teaching this. And like not even like I really didn't know until I moved to Austin that like, okay, like you can bring this up. Like you can like, I think that people get like so awkward about being like, if I ask, or like, do I have to like wait for like this like cue to make a move, or like, do I have to like wait for something to be like the time's right?
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, like consent is hot. Like consent
It's
is so sexy.
fucking hot.
And for somebody, like if you're like not sure, like
You can just ask.
like ask, because with the right person, they're gonna be like, I'm so into this. Like, yeah, like I'm here for it.
You know how many guys, like, because I've had some guys try to like argue with me when I don't want to have sex with him, but the ones that are like, oh, you don't want to have sex? Let's just go to bed. I'll get you some water. Those are the ones where I'm like, I want to jump their bones
You're
right
like,
now.
Wait, like now I do.
now I'm turned on, which is like, it's honestly pretty fucked up that like so many guys try to argue with us.
Oh, if that happens, I'm like, I was already so dry, and like now it's like the fucking Sahara Desert down here.
Oh yeah, if they like try to fight with
Yeah,
you.
like I'm so dry. Get away from me. Like,
So how has like OnlyFans helped you embrace your sexuality too? Because like I just think it was repressed most of your life. So how has like
Yeah.
OnlyFans been able to make you like start exploring yourself? Because we know about the unicorning, but like
Yeah,
you know there's other areas of life.
yeah, suppressed as hell. I mean, OnlyFans, like I said, like my first girl on girl experience was like we were filming a scene.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, Kristen knew that. But I was like, honestly, I was kind of like embarrassed to be like, okay, like this is like the first time I'm like actually like doing things. And like that showed me like, yes, I like girls. I mean, all my like experiences, you know, it's like I'm attracted to girls.
Did you know
I
that
like
you were bi
girls.
before that? Or was that your like coming to light or coming to, I don't even know the phrase.
Coming to Jesus?
That you knew you were bi.
Like come to Jesus moment. No, I definitely like I knew beforehand. I was like, okay, I like girls, but I had never like let myself have that experience.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I remember like early. I remember pretty early that like I was like I'm super like into girls. Like I would see like makeout scenes with girls. Like growing up, like, do you remember like Cruel Intentions? Like that.
No.
Okay.
But I did watch a lot of girl porn.
Yes. Like I like saw that and I was like, okay, like things are happening. But I would like never let myself like actually like kiss a girl or do anything.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that almost I was like, if I do this and like I'll know.
Uh-huh.
And it really like wasn't until OnlyFans that like I started like doing stuff and like exploring that. And I was like, yeah, now I do.
I do like
And
girls.
then it's like just forcing me to just it's forcing me to like figure out what I like, what I don't like. Also setting boundaries.
I
Like,
feel like I didn't know how to set boundaries before OnlyFans, and the amount of people like it's just I was just taught to be a bitch at work. Like, you do this, and I would monkey say, monkey do.
Yeah, no shit. And like with OnlyFans, it's like you are given that freedom to like do what you want and what you don't want. And if you like don't want something to happen, it's like, you know, it's either like a fuck yeah or a hard no.
Yeah.
And like you're like given that power to be able to decide.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we haven't heard you burp once, so I want you to finish this fucking White Claw and chug it so we can hear a famous Sara burp.
Goodness.
It's like
Okay.
you get camera shy or something. Like a little elevator music in the background.
I have to go pee really bad.
Ace, if you burp, but what if you burp in the bathroom?
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. I have to do another one.
Okay, keep. She got it.
That was a bitch of a burp.
We bought these White Claws just for her to
I was
finally
burping
burp
all
and
before this.
I know.
Was
You
I
wasted
not?
all of them. Yeah, we all know we can burp better than this. I can't.
I'm so disappointed in myself.
Y'all, when we were all in Tulum, she was on the top floor and I heard her in the kitchen 3 stories below. 3 stories. Heard her in the kitchen. That's how loud her burps are.
Yeah, which that one I was like, oh, don't judge me, guys. I can do so much better than that.
All right. Well, why don't you plug yourself? Instagram, OnlyFans, TikTok. If you have a website with all of the links, that would probably be great.
Yes. Just go to my Instagram. It's at the Sarah Ames.
Spell it because yeah.
TheSaraAmes.
And then her links will be in there. And
They're
then
on there.
you
Thank you so
can
much for having me here. This was fun.
my link is it's Deelz, ITSDEELZ.com. So you can find me there. Yay!